poker machines going down everywhere.
Hundreds of emergency rescue workers from Sydney are rushing to Newcastle to help out, and seismological experts warn all may not be over. Aftershocks are expected. Two other quakes have struck different parts of the U.S. this morning. Southern California felt the rumblings of a quake that measured 4.3 on the Richter scale. It was felt from Los Angeles to the Arizona border. No reported injuries there. And another quake measuring 4.6 shook the island of Hawaii. Local police say the quake was strong enough to feel, but was not that bad.
We have more news on the status of Manuel Noriega in Panama this morning. Sources at the State Department tell Channel 7 News there's a possibility he'll be sent to the Dominican Republic. For now, though, he remains at the Vatican Embassy in Panama City. French and Swiss authorities have frozen millions of dollars in Noriega's bank accounts. The White House requested the freeze and claims the money came from the sale of illegal drugs. But Noriega is now getting a free concert at the Vatican Embassy. American soldiers are blasting rock and roll songs outside the embassy to rattle Noriega and to prevent anyone from eavesdropping on negotiations there. Reserve troops from our state will soon be joining the troops already in Panama. Volunteers from units in South Florida and the Florida Panhandle will get on planes today headed for Panama City. For security reasons, the military isn't saying how many soldiers are going. The fighting has left many Panamanians in desperate need of vital supplies, and at this hour, help should be just about there. Volunteers from the Miami Latin Chamber of Commerce are en route to Panama City with 65,000 pounds of food and medicine. Congresswoman Eliana Ross-Layton is one of them. Miami Herald trucks delivered the goods to an Eastern jet late last night for the flight early this morning.
Police are still trying to figure out how an apparent stowaway got into the back of an Eastern Airlines jet. His body was discovered after the plane landed. A ground crew made the shocking discovery yesterday at Miami International Airport. They opened a rear fold-up stairway of a plane that had just arrived from Barbados and found the 17-year-old boy. He reportedly was found in a part of the jet that's not pressurized or heated during flights. Officials say the youth was wearing only a shirt and a pair of pants. An autopsy will be performed later on. A man who tried to burn his son to death is getting out of prison this morning, but he's having a hard time finding a place to live. Charles Rothenberg is getting out of jail after spending 6.5 years there for trying to kill himself and his son over a bitter child custody fight. People in a small California town were outraged that he was going to serve his parole there. They protested, and parole officials agreed to send him somewhere else.
It's being called the bloodiest year on record for some major U.S. cities. For once, Miami's not one of them. Neither is Fort Lauderdale. The survey shows that Miami and Fort Lauderdale are likely to have fewer homicides this year than last. Officials say the decline may be in part because of police drug crackdowns. The three cities with the highest number of homicides are New York, Washington, and the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. The U.S. spends a higher percentage of its gross national product on health care than any other country. But when it comes to keeping babies alive their first year, America's not doing very well. Brian Jenkins reports poverty and a drug crisis are threatening to send infant mortality rates spiraling out of control.
These are the byproducts of poverty. Premature, underweight, some damaged in the womb by their mother's smoking or drinking or drug habits. At Temple University Hospital in Philadelphia, as at many inner-city hospitals around the country, about 1 out of every 5 babies delivered has traces of cocaine in its system. Medical advances made over the past few years will keep many sickly newborns alive, but others will perish. Nationwide, about 10 out of every 1,000 babies now die within a year of their birth.
There are pockets of this community that have neonatal mortality rates, infant death rates, that exceed 5 times the national average and are equal to the death rates in some underdeveloped and undeveloped countries.
That's why Temple University Hospital is launching a new program next week to seek out those pregnant women in North Philadelphia who are not receiving adequate care and to make sure they know it's available. The targets of Smart Start are not only drug and alcohol abusers and not only black, but also teenage mothers of all ethnic groups, low-income working women, and overweight or diabetic mothers-to-be.
You hear it?
Doctors here believe that if women hear about habits that can harm an unborn child, most will heed the warnings, most but not all.
And that is one of the most serious problems with cocaine in that the mother does not care about the baby.
Nurses and doctors do care, and at this hospital, they estimate the average cost of caring for a low birth weight baby at about $200,000. That's about 40 times more than the cost of basic prenatal care.
But we think most of them will be normal kids later on, and that's why we're somewhat hopeful in terms of, and why we don't mind putting so much effort into trying to keep the little ones alive.
Still, doctors at this hospital hope an ounce of prevention from their new program will help reduce the need for pounds of cure. And they hope the results of their effort will help convince politicians at the state and federal levels to put more money into early care for mothers and their babies. Brian Jenkins, CNN, New York.
Health officials say government health care programs aren't enough to cover the cost of caring for those sick babies.
Mississippi police are investigating a scare caused by a suspicious-looking package. Yesterday, a postal worker in Greenville found a package addressed to the principal of the city's largest black school. With the string of recent mail bombs across the South, authorities didn't want to take any chances, so they cleared the building. But when they opened the package, they discovered it contained only educational supplies. Here at home, one man was hurt when an explosion ripped through a bottling plant in Pembroke Park. Firefighters don't know what caused the blast, but there was an ammonia leak inside the plant. Workers and residents from a nearby trailer park were evacuated from the area, but by last night, everyone was back home and the leak was capped. The cause of the explosion is under investigation.
Miami police are searching for a missing stockbroker this morning, and they want your help. 45-year-old George Kinzel disappeared from his Brickell Avenue office Tuesday morning. He was supposed to take his car to the mechanic, but he didn't make it. Friends say they can't be sure that he was planning to return.
We can't find anything out of place. We don't see any clients who've lost money. We don't see any large withdrawals out of the account. So it really was not helpful in solving what may have happened, or was someone who was a client of George's possibly involved in his disappearance.
Kinzel is described as 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, with salt and pepper hair and green eyes. Anyone with information is urged to call the Miami Police Department.
9 minutes, that is, after 8 o'clock right now. And just ahead, endangered sea turtles are being hurt by our cold spell.
It's taking a lot of cold cash to keep the nation's homes warm.
And Steven Spielberg is at it again. We'll let you get a sneak preview of his latest movie coming up.
When the person who doctors the family gets a cough and cold, everyone suffers.
Mom, someone took my sleeve.
I earned it myself. Time to doctor that cough with Robitussin, because more doctors and pharmacists recommend Robitussin than any other cough medicine.
Look, Mom's feeling better. Uh-oh.
Robitussin, recommended by Dr. Mom. Which Robitussin is right for you? Ask your doctor or pharmacist. Save on Robitussin and help your favorite store help hospitals for children.
This is it. Moore's Design Center is opening to the public for the first time in their history. After serving builders, architects, and designers exclusively for 66 years, Moore's will open their doors to the general public for savings up to 70% off on America's most famous names in furniture. You'll find over 80,000 square feet of furniture at incredible rock-bottom prices. Act now for the best selection and lowest prices. This is history in the making at Moore's Design Center. They're easy to reach at 191 Northeast 40th Street in Miami. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 till 6. Sundays, noon till 5. Don't be the one to miss it.
Hot. Safe. Taurus. Hot. Value. Safe.
Save at your South Florida Ford dealers now.
Don't forget these values from Publix, like Publix 100% Colombian regular coffee, just $1.58 for 13 ounces. And bananas, 4 pounds for only $1. Or how about Publix beef loin sirloin steak, just $2.99 a pound. These are the only words you need to remember.
12 minutes after 8 o'clock right now, and it's 3 days and counting till New Year's Eve and the 56th annual King Orange Jamboree Parade. The bleachers went up weeks ago, and now the finishing touches are being put on the 30 floats. The whole show will come rolling down Biscayne Boulevard Sunday evening. The time for the parade is being moved up an hour to 6:30, so be sure to get there early and get a good seat to watch the festivities.
And the weather for the festivities is going to be nice. Steve Adams is in for Tom Burse this morning. Steve, it's finally shaping up into some decent South Florida weather, isn't it?
Absolutely, Charles. Nice weather for the Orange Bowl. That's all you need to know. I'll see you later. No, it's going to be great all the way through the weekend and on into the next week, next year even. It's going to be good. I deliver nothing but good news. Fort Lauderdale 49, in Kendall it's 48, Miami 49 right now, Key West reporting 59, West Palm Beach is 50, Sunrise 49, 51 in Miami Beach, 49 for Miami. Our winds north at 3 right now, although in southern areas of Dade County the winds are more out of the west. Barometer 30.27 and rising. Humidity is 77%. A little bit of cloud cover, high cloudiness, no real moisture involved in these clouds. Just a little bit of cloud cover moving from the Gulf over to the Atlantic, being pulled up by that trough that is well off the east coast right now in a low pressure area off the mid-Atlantic coastal states out in this neighborhood here. As you can see, all this stuff is trying to get off the east coast, but in the meantime, it's leaving behind quite a bit of snow all the way from about just north of Washington on up into Boston, into New York, Buffalo, back into Pittsburgh. Some heavy snows there today. Also some snow flurries flying around the Great Lakes, but generally trying to clear out some snow back into Wisconsin and portions of Minnesota as that frontal system moves through there. Mostly clear across the southeastern quarter of the country. In the western states, though, scattered snow throughout the area there, with more heavy snow expected in the mountains later today. New York will be partly cloudy today, a high forecast of 31 this afternoon, 40 in Washington, D.C., 63 for Atlanta under sunny skies, Kansas City 51. It's going to be cloudy to partly cloudy between Chicago and the Twin Cities, 38 for Chi-Town, 35 in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Denver will be 50 degrees today. Dallas, Fort Worth, 65, 64 in Los Angeles, 55 reading for San Francisco, 46 in Seattle. And the forecast map says we're going to have some nice weather coming our way today. Lots of sunshine, high temperature 73 degrees. Tonight's going to be nice also, mostly fair 55 degrees. Then tomorrow, once again, partly sunny skies, mild, a high of about 75 degrees. And the boating forecast for Dade-Broward coastal waterways looks good. North and northeast winds 5 to 10 knots, seas 1 to 3 feet. Bay waters will be smooth to a light chop. And the almanac calls for our low tide at 2:21 this afternoon, high tide 8:12 this evening, sunrise 7:06, and the sunset at 5:39. So, Charles, Marianne, looks like we're in for some good weather. A few little clouds around, but a lot of sunshine and warming up, thank goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a delight to see. Thank you, Steve. Marianne?
Well, Charles, our cold weather is creating some serious problems in the ocean off of Florida. The chilly water is killing endangered sea turtles. They're suffering from hypothermia and then drowning. 232 turtles have been pulled in the water from this week. 61 of them have died. The others are being taken to SeaWorld and Disney World, where they are being put in warm water. And the record cold snap left an unusual mark on the landscape of Central Florida. A new sinkhole 50 feet wide and 20 feet deep has appeared on the town of Pearson. Farmers in the area had been spraying their plants to keep them from freezing. Officials speculate that as the water table dropped, the ground simply gave way. For safety, officials put a fence up around the hole.
The freezing temperatures across much of the nation have sent home heating oil prices through the roof. CNN's Charles Feldman takes a look at how America is keeping warm and how much that's costing.
Unless you have been out of the country this past month, by now you know the great freeze is on. Record low December temperatures in many parts of the nation. If you're a homeowner, especially in the Northeast, you may also know by now the cost of heating your abode has skyrocketed. The wholesale price of home heating oil, just 63 cents a gallon at the beginning of the month, is now almost $1. This New Jersey man discovered Wednesday that it didn't take long for that increase to be passed along to consumers.
But my goodness, it's $1.29.9. I never remember it more than $1, or even at $1.
It's entirely due to weather factors, which affect demand, of course, very substantially. We've seen heating oil demand in the last month or so rising by something like 500,000 barrels a day, which is a 35–40% increase in heating oil demand.
But weather is not the only reason for the dramatic rise in price. Over the weekend, there was a powerful explosion at the nation's second largest oil refinery in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, fueling heating oil futures prices, and there's the possibility of spot shortages. Some of the current problems can even be traced back, say some, to this past summer's vacation driving season.
The oil companies, in order to meet the gasoline crunch that we were experiencing during the summer, the crude was being converted and processed into gasoline. But in fact, now we're feeling some of the effects of that because the home heating oil was not necessarily made, and as a result, we're experiencing a shortage.
Consumer groups warn that while the current escalation in prices may be justified, in the past, some oil companies price gouged once the weather warmed. Their advice, keep a close eye on your home heating oil bill and a tight grip on your wallet. Charles Feldman, CNN, New York.
Meanwhile, regulators are watching out for price fixing and other illegal forms of industry cooperation.
Well, it's just about 18 minutes after 8 o'clock right now, and coming up, the nation's top movies are getting global recognition.
And for women, what makes you sexy? Stay tuned and find out.
Raycom Sports and Entertainment presents the Liberty Bowl, one of college football's most prestigious events. The 31st Liberty Bowl features the high-powered wishbone attack of the Air Force Academy, led by Heisman candidate Dee Dowis, against the aerial assault of the Ole Miss Rebels and their record-setting quarterback John Darnell. Don't miss any of the pageantry and excitement of one of the most elaborate halftime shows of the Holiday Bowl season. It's the 31st Liberty Bowl, live from Memphis, Tennessee.
The Liberty Bowl, live tonight at 8 on WSVN 7.
If you could live inside a teenager suffering emotionally, you'd understand the overwhelming sadness.
I can't do anything right.
The crushing loneliness.
It's always my fault.
The paralyzing fear.
I don't want to, okay?
And you would know that inside,
it's just not worth it.
He's desperately crying for help.
Call Charter Hospital of Miami, 591-3230. If you don't get help at Charter, please get help somewhere.
Until December 30th, every 1989 Cadillac from Bayview comes with something special. A vacation for two on us. Enjoy luxurious 4-day, 3-night vacations on Hilton Head Island or in the Great Smoky Mountains. And Bayview is offering discounts up to $9,000 with over 100 demonstrator, executive, and new 89 Cadillacs to choose from. We're America's largest volume Cadillac dealership, and we always sell for less. Hurry to Bayview Cadillac on US 1 in Fort Lauderdale.
Father and Son Moving and Storage has been family-owned and operated since 1908. Modern moving with old-fashioned care and complete packing and unpacking. Our storage facilities are in climate-controlled, fireproof buildings. We have special New York Express service and senior citizen discounts. My grandfather moved your grandfather.
Thank you, Father and Son.
4 generations of movers, serving Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties.
The time now is 20 after 8. What makes a person sexy? For women, it can be anything from that sparkle in your eye to your brand of perfume. Or is it? Our Dr. Terry Hamilton explains.
Sex appeal. We all want it. Everything from toothpaste to perfume says they can give it to you. So what is sex appeal? What makes a woman sexy? This really is a hard question to answer because sex appeal, or what someone thinks is sexy, depends on who's doing the thinking. If you ask a lot of people, you'll get a lot of different answers. Many women have bought the myth that sexually attractive means they have to look like playmates or Vogue models, which of course means they can have no hips, no fat, no pimples, no gray hair, and obviously no wrinkles. The result is that a lot of women are very self-conscious about their appearance. They're worried that they're too fat, too ugly, or too old, and they certainly don't feel sexy. Now, while physical appearance does play a part, sex appeal goes far beyond that. It's the way a woman feels about her body, the way she feels about men, signals she gives off, the way she focuses on other people. And if there were one quality that I had to pick above all the others in saying what makes a woman sexy, it would definitely be confidence. If a woman has sexual confidence, she doesn't have to be gorgeous to project sex appeal. And if she lacks that confidence, even drop-dead beautiful may not make her sexy. For women, I'm Dr. Terry Hamilton.
Dr. Hamilton welcomes your questions and comments. You can write to her care of Channel 7. Our address is Post Office Box 1118, Miami 33138.
Well, it's showtime for Hollywood's award season, and kicking off the new decade, the Golden Globe Award nominations have just been announced. This upcoming event promises to be a dramatic cross between the Oscars and the Emmys. At the top of the list, the smash hit Born on the 4th of July, starring Tom Cruise, has received 5 nominations, and taking Best Actor nominations, look for veteran Al Pacino, Jack Lemmon, and Robin Williams for Dead Poets Society.
Any favorites?
Not yet. I don't think I've seen all of those.
Well, they may come back.
Yeah, really.
It's 22 minutes after 8. Still ahead, he may be the best movie director alive.
Steven Spielberg is releasing another surefire blockbuster. Stay tuned for a chat with him.
The most acclaimed nature documentary in the history of television is now available on video cassette. Witness nature in all its awesome power and deadly beauty. Time Life Video and WNET announce the Nature Video Library. Now your family can own this video collection of the wonders of the world. A series so remarkable, the New York Times hails it as television at its most impressive. Your first video adventure takes you to Hawaii, islands of the fire goddess. Born in the conflict of fire and water, Hawaii is a land of amazing contrasts, a kaleidoscope of color, a menacing land of sudden death. Home to over 6,000 species of life found nowhere else on the planet. This is Hawaii as few have seen it. Call now to receive Hawaii at the low introductory price of only $9.99 plus shipping and handling. Other exciting video cassettes from the Nature Video Library will follow at only $19.99. Keep only those you want. Cancel at any time. To experience the wonders of the Nature Video Library, beginning with your specially priced introductory cassette, Hawaii, please call this toll-free number now.
Credit card customers call 1-800-421-7800 now to get your first video cassette, Hawaii, at the special introductory price of just $9.99, or send 1322 to Nature, Grand Central Station, P.O. Box 5294, Department 536, New York, New York. Or call now, 1-800-421-7800.
It's 25 minutes after 8 right now. Checking our people in the news this morning, the frigid beach of Coney Island, New York has some new tourists on its shore, and you may think they're nuts. The fish weren't biting, but the temperatures were, and so were the bears. A special school of swimmers hit the surf for a swim. Really. And one guy even had icicles hanging from his chest when he got out of the water. He and his friends are members of the Polar Bear Club, which thrives on swimming in sub-zero temperatures. Go figure. They say it's one of the most invigorating winter sports in the country. In entertainment news, he's at it again. Director Steven Spielberg brought us E.T., Jaws, and Close Encounters. And meanwhile, whale watchers are out in force off Southern California. Nature lovers will soon be able to catch a glimpse of migrating whales. The whales apparently like to look at people, too. Some of them even approach boats to be petted. The whales' winter migration takes them from the Arctic Ocean, then down south to Mexico's Baja Peninsula.
Well, in entertainment news, he is at it again. Director Steven Spielberg brought us E.T., Jaws, and Close Encounters. Now he's coming out with another movie. It's called Always, and it stars Richard Dreyfuss and Holly Hunter. Sherry Sylvester reports on this newest turn in Spielberg's career.
You know, sometimes a trend can be tapped out by one movie, and I've tapped out a few trends.
Indeed, Steven Spielberg has been tapping trends for most of his career. He has the kind of Midas touch that led to early cinematic success, making movies with just the right amount of action, adventure, and heart. But he hasn't always been as touched by the process as we have by the results. Take Jaws, the 1975 hit that launched his career.
It was the worst experience of my life making a movie, and still to this day, nothing has challenged or to come close. It still is a nightmare. I still wake up thinking I'm directing Jaws on Martha's Vineyard. And it was the kind of thing I started talking about it because it wasn't a very nice experience. And I wondered why I was making this movie, you know, and I kept hoping they would fire me.
But they didn't, and in spite of his cynicism, it made a bundle. A nicer movie-making experience, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, to date the biggest moneymaker of all time. A story for which he says there will never be a sequel.
Well, E.T. was like having children. It was like suddenly being a father overnight. I made a lot of concept films based on a shark or based on outer space or based, you know what I'm saying, based on the serials of the 1930s. I've done a lot of concept films. I'm very interested now in working with actors and people-oriented stories.
He's done just that with Always, a love story set among firefighter pilots, as played out by veteran actors Richard Dreyfuss, Holly Hunter, John Goodman, and Audrey Hepburn. It's Spielberg's most sentimental story on cinema, delivering a definite message to its audience.
They should feel a little mushy and gushy and wear their hearts in their sleeves and be a little tender for a few hours after the film is over. Then they can go ahead and be who they are.
Mushy and gushy. I think that just about sums up a lot of his style.
I'm looking forward to seeing this one, though.
Just out on Channel 7, it's hailed as a medical breakthrough, but certain types of laser surgery have claimed the lives of 4 women. That story's coming up in our HealthCast.
And war may be hell, but old war gear can also be quite a hobby.
Here's to the sunrise.
Here's to the evening when it's there.
A taste of the good life.
This is living as good as it gets. Our vitals broken sound.
It's where you wanna be.
A life of excitement. It's everything you dream. Our vitals broken sound. It's where you wanna be.
Your motto at St. Andrews, Boca Raton.
Dave Neal, before 230 pounds. Dave after losing 52 pounds. What's his secret? Doctor's quick weight loss.
Thanks to them, I lost 52 pounds in just 16 weeks. There are a lot of new women in my life, and even my doctor was impressed. Now my overweight friends are going to quick weight loss because of my success.
Save. Get 1/2 off at Doctor's Quick Weight Loss Centers. Call now. Toll free 1-800-940-SLIM for the Doctor's Quick Weight Loss Center near you.
If you love to surround yourself in beauty, you belong in the world of Estee Lauder. Visit your Estee Lauder beauty advisor, and with your choice of $12.50 or more, we'll treat you to this gift, including luscious cream mascara and a lipstick. Estee Lauder. Live in our world. This gift is yours through January 6th at Lord & Taylor.
You take a lot of pictures during the holidays, and you want your prints back now. So go to Eckerd Express Photo. Just drop off your film, and in no time at all, it's done.
Eckerd Express Photo 1-hour processing. Nothing looks better.
You know, I own this tie. Why are Eckerd Express Photo prints so good? Our lab technicians make sure each print meets Kodak Color Watch standards. And everyone is trained to give you the best prints in just an hour.
Eckerd Express Photo 1-hour processing. Nothing looks better.
You guys twins?
You're watching Today in Florida on WSVN Channel 7.
Hello again, I'm Charles Molineaux.
And I'm Marianne Murciano. Our top stories this half hour. A father is out of jail after burning his son. Now California residents are fighting to keep the father out of their town. A killer earthquake hits Australia. At least 10 people are dead. And why are these families running from the law? We'll have the inside report. Those stories coming up in just a minute, but first let's take a look outside, see what the weather's like this morning, and it's pretty nice. It has warmed up since this last week. 49 degrees in Miami, 50 in Miami Beach, and Fort Lauderdale reports 49. Kendall reports 48, 58 in Key West, and West Palm Beach has 47 degrees today. You can look for lots and lots of sunshine today and a high of 73. Steve Adams will be along with a closer look at the forecast in just a few minutes. Now this just in, the chill that has settled over South Florida has taken another life. This morning, a 5-year-old Jacksonville girl died in a pre-dawn house fire. 4 other children and 3 adults were able to escape the blaze. Apparently, it was caused by a faulty electric heater. Little Mia Kish was the 3rd person in 7 days to die in a Jacksonville fire. Charles?
How's this for a horror story? A father pours gasoline over his son, intending to kill him, then himself. But the plan doesn't work out. The son is left badly burned but alive, and the father goes to jail. It happened several years ago in California, and people there are outraged that the father will soon be out on parole. We have more on that story from CNN's Dan Blackburn in Los Angeles.
This man, Charles Rothenberg, is to be paroled next month, set free 6.5 years after he set his son on fire inside a Southern California motel room. Little David Rothenberg was 7 years old at the time. Although badly burned, he survived. But since then, he has had to endure repeated skin grafts and fear about his father's release.
There's been a tremendous injustice done that he's getting out of jail that soon. An injustice to David and Marie. And, but there isn't anybody to get angry at.
Hofdahl, a police lieutenant, met the family while investigating the case and later married David's mother. The boy was burned by his father during a 1983 murder-suicide attempt stemming from a bitter dispute over visiting rights. Charles Rothenberg is being released because he was convicted under an old California law requiring specific sentences. That law now has been changed. And his father's release will mean changes for young David.
You won't be able to do what many kids like to do after school is, you know, go on your skateboard and go for a ride up and down the sidewalk, or take your basketball and go down to the school and shoot hoops. He won't be able to do that. And he won't want to do that for fear of bumping into his dad.
A psychologist who interviewed Charles Rothenberg says he no longer poses a serious threat. Savicki and a burn specialist have collaborated with Rothenberg on a book about the case. But it probably will not help young David.
He has reoccurring nightmares that his dad is chasing him down the street in a foot race. You know, that's the shame. That is the absolute crime.
One California community already has refused to accept Charles Rothenberg as a resident on parole. Officials now say they will keep Rothenberg's new parole site a secret. Dan Blackburn, CNN, Los Angeles.
Rothenberg's son says he has no desire to see his father once he's out of prison. Rothenberg, meanwhile, says he'll do anything to try and convince his son that he's sorry.
As we enter the 90s, we leave behind the 80s on a sour note. 1989 was the bloodiest year on record in at least half a dozen American cities. And to the surprise of many, Miami and Fort Lauderdale were not among those cities. 5 major cities, New York, Washington, Philadelphia, Chicago, and Los Angeles, broke records for the most homicides in a year. In New York City, there were more than 1,700 killings as of last month. Although the Big Apple claims the largest number of violent deaths, Washington actually has the most murders per capita in the nation. In South Florida, Miami's homicide total was 150. Last year, there were 163 murders. Fort Lauderdale's total also slipped from 44 to 34. Law enforcement officials blame the violence on drug wars. A horrifying discovery yesterday for an Eastern Airlines ground crew at Miami International Airport. When they opened a rear stairway of a plane that had just arrived from Barbados, they found the body of a teenage stowaway. The 17-year-old boy was found in a part of the jet not pressurized or heated during flights. He was wearing only a shirt and a pair of pants. Outside temperatures had dropped to 50 degrees below zero. An autopsy will be performed to determine the cause of death.
They're calling it the worst earthquake ever to rock Australia. Officials now say at least 10 people are dead and about 120 are hurt in the town of Newcastle. The quake hit earlier this morning, registering 5.5 on the Richter scale. Rescue workers say it left the industrial city in shambles. Meanwhile, the search for the dead and wounded continues. U.S. troops have intensified their vigil outside the Vatican embassy in Panama City. In an unusual move, they've set up speakers blaring loud music. The speakers are reportedly aimed at a nearby hotel, so journalists can't listen in on negotiations concerning Noriega. Meanwhile, France has frozen 2 of Noriega's bank accounts that the U.S. claims are full of drug money. And a South Florida soldier killed in the Panama invasion will be buried today with full honors. 34-year-old Army Specialist Alejandro Manrique of Lauderhill will be laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery outside the nation's capital. His family and a military escort left for Washington yesterday. Manrique is one of 24 American soldiers who died in the invasion.
36 minutes after 8 o'clock right now, and up next, they are parents and children on the run.
But why are these parents kidnapping their own children? We'll have the inside report when Today in Florida continues.
I'm health specialist Marilyn Mitzel. Deadly mistakes during laser surgery. That story is in this morning's HealthCast.
You been? We've been waiting for you. Why, there's over 1 million people in there sweating to the oldies, and you're missing all the excitement. Well, don't worry, because we're moving this aerobic party to your house with sweating to the oldies, too. And, honey, if you thought the first workout was a blast, then you ain't seen nothing yet. Because with sweating, too, the party's just begun. This is one sequel that has no equal. You'll dance your pounds away in a funky 50s diner as my blistering hot rock and roll band pumps up the volume with a brand new performance of your favorite golden oldies. The only thing you'll find on this diner's menu is exercise. From legs to stomach to buns, we'll serve you up the best low-impact workout you've ever experienced. And to keep you motivated, I've invited a whole new group of friends for you to party with. I promise you, you'll find someone in this video